Wanikina, thank you for coming and sparing your time with us. Now, if you could please introduce yourself and the organization that you work for our audience.
My name is Lumbasi Bartholomew Wanikina. I work at the Ministry of Education Kenya in the State Department responsible for early learning and basic education as a Deputy Director, and I'm responsible for monitoring of donor-funded projects as well as policy formulation, where I am engaged in promoting peace.
Thank you, Mr. Wanikina. Now, I've heard that you are focusing on providing education and welfare of women and children. Now, is there a specific reason for this focus?
I'm very passionate in promoting education for children and women because of the key importance of education in eradicating poverty and enhancing equality in the society. So I'm passionate and I strongly believe that my contribution will help in enhancing the social and the economic development that will be able to transform the livelihoods of our society and enable my country to be competitive globally and at the same time contribute to the peaceful coexistence in my country and in the region. Thank you.
Now, sir, if you could tell us how you met HWPL and what was your impression?
My first time to meet with the HWPL team was while I was working at the Kenya National Commission for UNESCO. When the HWPL approached us, at that time I was heading the education program so that we can have a partnership in promoting peace. And followed by a training at the Kenya Education Management Institute, where we trained the educators, around 47 of them, on peace education. And we also had got teachers who are engaged in promoting peace and education for sustainable development. And after that, also, I was privileged to be enrolled on an online program where I trained on peace education, and I acquired the values being promoted by HWPL. And this was great to me because it lines well with what I usually do in the ministry, because I had already participated in developing the peace education policy for Kenya. And after that, also I've been participating in all the peace conferences for HWPL, and I'm really inspired by the messages I get from the chairman, Manhi, and actually this is great in my life because since childhood, I grew up in a place called Mount Elgon where there was a lot of violence, and because of that violence, actually, I am pursuing peace so that I ensure there is peaceful coexistence of my people back at home and in the region, that is the East African region, Africa at large. And by joining HWPL, I'm confident that this is going to help me to reach out to the greater world where we are going to realize peace as an agenda for all the leaders.
Mr. Wanikina, when you were a Secretary General at the National Commission of UNESCO back in the days, what was your main role?
While I was working at the Kenya National Commission for UNESCO, I was a Deputy Director responsible for basic education, and this entailed promoting global citizenship education and an agenda that will ensure that the UNESCO, the global education agenda, is achieved in Kenya and in the Africa region.
Now, back then, if you recall your memory, you started cooperation with HWPL. What was the reason?
The HWPL Peace Initiative is holistic because the approach is aimed at involving each and everyone and listening to people and giving them an opportunity so that they can find a solution to the existing problems. So the key values that I've learned in the process actually are very important when you look at the holistic development of the child, especially reaching out to the children in school.
Now, Mr. Wanikina, I heard that HWPL and you are preparing an MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding. Could you please explain a little bit more detail about this?
The MOU with HWPL, there's a process that we engage in whereby I shared it with the Director, Policy Partnerships and East African Community Affairs, and also taken to the Director General. And then the Director General considered it and is at the point of being shared with the Principal Secretary and the Cabinet Secretary. And these are also going through the Attorney General's office. This has been well received on our side because it's in line with the Kenya National Commission for aiming at promoting national cohesion. So something that is positively being considered by the ministry.
Sir, then who are the two parties of this MOU?
It is HWPL and the Ministry of Education.
Now, Mr. Wanikina, I just want to ask, is it common that the government of Kenya or Ministry of Education to sign such a document, Memorandum of Understanding, with an NGO? Is this something special or common?
This is not the first MOU between the Ministry of Education and the non-governmental organizations. We have got others like the World Vision. We have got also other institutions that are engaged in promoting SDGs like SDG Africa Network. We have got bilateral agreements between the government of Kenya and the government of South Korea. But this is a unique one because I think it will be the first of kind between a South Korean led institution, NGO, and the Ministry of Education. So that is being considered and it's welcome and it will be a great thing because it's aimed at promoting peace.
Thank you, Mr. Wanikina, for explanation. And now I want to know that what is the significance of this MOU made with NGO and the Ministry of Education? And what kind of cooperations are allowed?
I strongly believe that the current MOU, which will be one of its kind between Kenya and the HWPL, will help us in ensuring that the content for HWPL on peace education is fully mainstreamed into our curriculum, and at the same time the peace initiatives that are being promoted by HWPL in line with the DCP actually will be realized, and the doors will also be open such that in future, once the COVID situation is over, Kenya can host a peace conference for the East African region or the African region. So we strongly believe that this MOU will open more opportunities for us.
So once this MOU has an effect, does that mean peace education can be implemented throughout nationwide in Kenya?
So I strongly believe that this is being implemented in schools and it needs to be scaled up to other schools. We believe that we'll bring this officially into the curriculum.
So what are the schools that are currently implementing peace education?
I think where we have had schools like St. Peter's, like Machakos, Boys High School here in Kenya, where peace being practiced, the HWPL peace values being practiced, we have not witnessed any issues to do with the strikes in schools. Remember, recently in Kenya, we have had a lot of conflict in schools where children have ended up burning schools. But in schools where we are promoting HWPL peace education, we have witnessed none actually being faced by this challenge. And therefore we can confess and say that it's very effective it needs to be scaled up because with the values of being kind to one another, being honest, being caring for one another, these children are able to embrace one another, each other's culture, and live together peacefully. Therefore, I strongly believe that this is an efficient program with very high efficacy because where we have had schools practicing, actually there are no cases of conflict, and that is our joy. That's the reason why we need more of HWPL Peace Education spread to the remaining schools in Kenya.
Now, Mr. Wanikina, this curriculum of peace education is made in South Korea. Was there any difficulties integrating this into Kenya?
I strongly believe that the content is universal. However, by adding local content, the rate of uptake is going to increase. And if it increases, then definitely we have got a high opportunity for us to succeed in promoting peace and ensuring that HWPL is the talk of the day in each and every family so that we can coexist together. And other governments who are like benchmarking with Kenya will come and borrow heavily. And I'm very sure this is the gateway to the rest of Africa.
Now, Mr. Wanikina, I heard that you participated in the submission of innovative proposal that HWPL has conducted. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Submission of the innovative proposals that can help us in enhancing peace within our countries. And this was submitted, and I submitted one for Kenya, which is quite holistic.
Now, sir, what motivated you to submit this proposal? And could you tell us a little bit more detail about what your proposal was about?
I drew my greatest inspiration from the conference when I listened to the chairman, Manley, and his passion in promoting peace. And while I look back on where I had come from and the little initiatives that I had undertaken in promoting peace, to the extent of actually developing a national policy that help us in promoting peace in Kenya, I realized that by talking about peace to others, then definitely I will be able to bring peace to the rest of the world. However little it can be, but it counts. So each and every person counts, and I strongly believe that when we talk about peace and when we participate in peace initiatives, we'll be able to save a life and to save destruction of property. And this is a great inspiration because with peace, there will be development. Without peace, there can never be development. And my submission was one, we intended to review the policy, which is currently ongoing. We intended to get support in ensuring that we develop the materials so that we can deliver the content on peace, HWPL peace, to all schools in Kenya. And from the policy, it will provide for mainstreaming of the HWPL peace into Kenyan curriculum, and at the same time with the materials.
Thank you for the answer. Now, we heard that you proposed something called Peace Education City, and we're quite intrigued by this notion. Could you please explain what you mean by Peace Education City?
The Peace Education City entails that in most cases during elections, the conflicts occur mainly in urban settlements, the cities. So, if we can have peace in our schools around the cities, then through the educators, we reach out to children. The children will reach out to their parents, and through the community meetings, then definitely we are going to have the peace cities. And once we have the peace cities, then we'll be able to reach out now to the rural.
Now, sir, we want to hear your honest, objective evaluation of HWPL's Peace Education. What would be some improvements that it can have?
The HWPL Peace Education is a very authentic and good program, and it is relevant, and I found it to be responsive to the needs of the society. So if we can take up these materials and be able to share them with the educators and the other institutions that are involved in civil society organizations and community-based organizations. So this is a good program that is holistic because it aims at involving each and every person, and therefore each and every person counts. And the voices of these particular individuals will give us peace. Therefore, this is the right approach that is holistic to the society that will help us to have peace. Unlike in the past, where we have interventions that we have had interventions using arms that has not realized peace. This is embraced by all religion. This is embraced by all people from different backgrounds, whether rich or poor. So this is the right approach which we should embrace and use in advancing peace to the society and to the world.
Thank you, Mr. Wanikina. Now, for our last question, we want to ask you if your thoughts on peace have changed after meeting HWPL, or if you have been influenced by working with HWPL.
Initially, the model that we had embraced is top-down, where we were going to tell people to embrace peace, but the people had not realized the importance of peace. But once you touch my heart, and that will make the difference, and that is what we are looking for. So this is a great achievement. Caring for the environment, for the ecosystem, was not part and parcel of peace initiatives before. They were separate. We are promoting education for sustainable development, which caters for the ecosystem and the planet. But this HWPL puts it all together, and this is a great, great achievement that I'm passionate in advancing it.
Thank you, Mr. Wanikina. I feel like time flew by today, and I can truly sense a bright future coming up for the young students in Kenya. And thank you once again for your passion for peace. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you.